Hello again. We'll now discuss what are the topics, okay, for the semis because it's already approaching and we're not yet done with your midterms examination. So I am now doing a video lecture for the semis topics for you to cope up on with the discussions. So first, we have to tackle the different social, political, economic, and cultural issues in the Philippine histories. Okay, so the topics covered are first, we have the agrarian reform policies, we have your taxations, and then the Philippine Constitution that's include from the Malolos Constitution, which is the 1899, and up to now the present or the current constitution that we are using, the 1987 constitution. So what are the intended learning outcomes? For you to have effectively communicate using various techniques and genres, historical analysis of a particular event or issues that could help you to understand those topics. Okay? And then second, to at least promote recommendations or solutions to what we have problem presently today, and based on your understandings of the topics, the root causes, and their anticipations for future scenarios, if there is. And then display the ability to work in a multidisciplinary team and contribute to a group endeavor later on to your chosen field of expertise on your own industries. Okay, so we have also the final requirements or a performance task and a reaction paper throughout this course. So we will discuss this later if we will happen to finish all the covered lectures. So first, we will discuss the Philippine Constitution. Okay, so the Philippine Constitution, this has evolved throughout the years. Okay, so it shaped political landscape. It tackles the distribution of powers in the Philippines. It leaves the impact to the overall country's governance and how we live or the people within the community or jurisdiction. And the Philippine Constitution has also undergone significant transformation. That's why we have different, no? Mapapansin nyo from 1899 and then we have now the 1987. So we have a transformation, we have transitions reflecting the nation's journey towards democracy, towards human rights, and just and equitable society. So let's break it down later. So before that, we will first tackle what are the branches of the government. Okay? So it's important kasi para in order for you to understand kung ano yung mga sinasabi natin kasi we have definition of terms, uh, that we have to consider and we have to identify. Okay, so first, we have three branches of the Philippine government. Okay, that is E, L, and J. When we say E, that is executive department. L, we have the legislative department. And third is the J or the judicial department. So this department is structured around three distinct and interdependent branches. So they are structured, they are interdependent. Magkakahiwalay, magkakaiba, they have different functions. Una, we have executive branch. So executive under our constitution, that is Article 7, okay, of the present, the 1987 Constitution. So basically, executive branch is enforcing, no, enacted laws. Okay, so the people behind the executive branch, first who headed the executive department is the president. Okay, this to serve as the head of the state and the head of the government. And then under the president is the vice president. Okay, then under the vice presidents is the cabinet members. So andyan yung mga different uh, executive, okay, from the different agencies, from the different bureaus and instrumentalities of the government. So when we say legislative naman, the legislative department that consists of the two chambers. No, yung tawag nating upper house and the lower house. When we say upper house, that is the seat of the Senate. No, so yung mga senators natin. So, doon yung mga senators natin, yung mga 24 yan, no, senators elected at large. Okay, and then we have the lower house or the lower chamber. That's what we call the HOR, or the House of Representatives, or the known congressman that are voted largely per district. No, for this congressional district naman, that's how elected, okay, by the people. So legislative branch is under Article 6 of the 1987 Constitution. So what is legislative branch? So they are responsible for creating, altering, and repealing laws. So sila ang tagapaggawa, okay, tagapagbago kung meron, no, ng mga batas. Okay, sa diyan nagsisimula, sa diyan originates, no, yung mga laws, no, and bills natin from the House of Representatives, and then pag okay na, pupunta yan ng Senate. Okay, so third is uh, the judicial branch. Judicial branch is the Article 8 of the Constitution. Okay? So it's responsible naman for settle legal controversies. It interprets now the laws. Okay? So who headed the Supreme Court? We have the Chief Justice and the members of the justices. Okay? The members are the 14, okay, associate justices. So basically, they interpret laws. So they will decide if the laws is a constitutional or unconstitutional. Okay, so that how the structure of the Philippine governments are. Okay, we have the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch. So, the question, saan naman ngayon mapupunta yung mga local government units natin? That is also under, okay, under the 1987 Constitution. So, meron tayong natawag na local government units. So, local government units, meron din branches yan. Pag sinabi mong mayor, governor, and barangay captains, so tagapagpatupad din naman ba, they execute laws. So they are belong to the executive departments. Okay, so mga mayors, governors, barangay captains, okay, yan, executive branch yan. Okay, so yung mga vice naman natin, vice governors, vice mayor, so wala namang vice ang barangay. So yung vice mayor and vice governors, that belong to the legislative, no? Because they are the head of the sanggunian. Sangguniang bayan, sangguniang panlalawigan, sangguniang panglungsod. Okay? So meron din tayo highly urbanized setups, no, sa metro. Okay? So yun, ang vice mayor, ang vice governor, they are the head of the legislative in the local level. Okay? Clear tayo doon? So those are your local government units that is under Republic Act 7160. No? That's RA 7160. Because we have three-tier system of local government units. We have provinces, we have cities or municipalities, and we have the barangays. So that's composed your local government units. Okay? We have also under the 1987 Constitution is the autonomous, no, regions. So meron tayong dalawang autonomous regions. First, sa Mindanao, yung ating bago lang, no, kakapatupad, no, the Bangsamoro Autonomous Regions in Muslim Mindanao, no, the BARM. That was established 2019 by Duterte, no. Karoon ng Bangsamoro Autonomous Regions in Muslim Mindanao. Oh, kasi they want a self-governance, no? They want their own parliament, devolved competencies from the national government. They want their own laws, no? Because it has something to do with their cultures, no, na hindi naman natin pwedeng i-adapt, like yung mga Muslim peoples, Muslim brothers natin. That's why it was granted autonomous, no, sa, okay? And then we have also from the Luzon is the dati na, no, the Cordillera Administrative Region. Okay, they are also autonomous. They have their own laws because also of the culture and tradition is preserved kasi. Okay, so we have also the different commissions, the three constitutional commissions. First, we have the CSC or the Civil Service Commission. So, sino ba itong CSC na to? Ang Civil Service Commission now is like a human resource of the Philippine government. So, they oversees the establishment and maintenance of the government, based on recruitment, promotion, and discipline for the government officials and employees. Okay, so that civil service commissions. We have also commission on election. That is also a distinct body promulgated under the 1987 Constitution. So it ensures lang a fair, accurate, and transparent elections throughout the Philippine systems. Okay, and then the last constitutional commissions, we have a commission on audit. Okay, it serves as a watchdog naman for the government finances, transparency, accountability, and also usage on how to use public funds. So those are the three independent constitutional commissions: the civil service commissions, the commission on elections, and the commission audits. Okay, so with that, we will proceed also to the different inherent powers of the state. So what is the inherent powers? So meron din tayong inherent powers of the state. First, we have second, we have the power of eminent domain. And third, we have the power of taxation. So these are distinct characteristics now or the salient features of the 1987 constitutions. Okay, nawala dun sa mga other constitutions. So later, we will check those different salient features and features of the different constitutions. So for now, I'll just want to give you backgrounds kung ano meron tayo sa 1987 Constitution. So we have three inherent powers of the state. First, we have police power, power of eminent domain, and the power of taxation. When we say police power, okay, it is the state's authority to create reasonable regulations. Paano? In order to have maintain public order, in order to have safety, morals, among us. So that's why there is a police power, but sometimes it's abused. Okay, and then that's because of democracy. Then, so later we will tackle all of those. And then we have the power of eminent domain. So what is this? It is the state's authority to take private property for public use. So the government pwedeng kumuha ng private property as long as it is for public use. But, kailangan bayaran ng gobyerno yon dun sa may-ari because it is done publicly. Therefore, it should be paid just compensation. Okay, just. Kung ano yung um, tawag dito, kung ano yung current situation, yung current monetary price based on the assessment of BIR, yun yung ibabayad dun sa may-ari. Hindi pwede dun sa presyo ng may-ari. Kung ano yung existing value or the appraised value of the property in a current situation and a current location. So that's how they pay just compensation for the eminent domain. So for example, yung bahay mo is kailangan lagyan ng daan ng farm to market roads or kailangan may bypass road. Yung property mo kailangan may diversion road. So the government will take that property but with just compensation. So that is the power of eminent domain. It's the power or it's the estate authority to take private property for public use. Okay? So dapat for public use. May pupuntahan dapat. And then we have power of taxation. So we have separate topics on taxation, but as a background lang, this is state authority to raise revenue. So the government needs to raise revenue for public use, for health purposes. That's why we have power of taxation. Diyan kinukuha yung mga public finances for hospitals, roads and infrastructures. So that's why we have to commit for that taxation because it is the power of the state to have a taxation for public purposes and for public use, for public revenues, for public finances. Okay? So that are your different eminent domains. Okay? So next, punta na tayo dun sa types of government. We have kasi two types of government. First, we have the de facto and the jure. When you say de facto and de jure, these are two described different types of government. particularly when there is a change in power, pag bigla nagbago. Like for example, Cory Aquino during the Marcos Senior nung nagkaroon ng democracy, nagkaroon ng sa revolution, ginawa naging president si Aquino because of people power. So that's what you call de facto government. So de facto is the government is in actual control of the state, because nanalo siya based on the clamor of the Filipino people, based on the democracy. There is no suffrage na naganap, walang botohan, but based on people power. That's why became the president during that time, and that's what you call de facto. He has the control of the state even though it may not have legal legitimacy. Why? Bakit walang legal legitimacy? Because hindi siya dumaan in a proper format, which is the people to vote, because that is the proper way during that time. However, nagkaroon nga ng people power, the Filipino people oust Marcoses, kaya nagkaroon ng revolution, and then they put Cory Aquino in government. So that's what you call de facto government. It exercises power and authority, but the existence is not sanctioned by the Constitution, or it was not organized by other countries. Okay? So that's what you call de facto government. So we have also de jure. So when you say de jure, that is legally recognized as a legitimate government of a state. So yung mga sila President Marcos Jr., Benigno Aquino, Erap Estrada, so those are the de jure government because they done through processes, no? Through legal, recognized, they have the legitimacy as a government representative or as a government head or a head of the state. And it is also recognized by other countries. So that is the de jure and the de facto type of government. So, pakita ko lang sa inyo yung mga different uh, parts ng Philippine Constitution. Okay? So, we have, I think, 18. If hindi ako nagkakamali. Yeah. So, we have 18 lang. No? 18 parts of Constitution. So, ang importante lang dyan, yung national territory, that's Article 1. Okay, so Article 1 tackles lang Philippine archipelago. That's include the islands and waters, no? Kasi importante, no, the territory para magkaroon ka ng sovereignty. Unang-una kasi kailangan para maging state yung isang bansa, just like Philippines, we have sovereignty. Unang-una yung sovereignty, dapat meron kang people, dapat meron kang territory. That's why Article 1 of the 87th Constitution is the national territory. So that includes all the islands and waters within the Philippine archipelago. So what are the other territories? Okay, bakit tayo merong Scarborough Shoal, meron tayong Panatag Shoal, meron tayong West Philippine Seas. Okay, so those are other territories under Philippine sovereignty or Philippine jurisdiction. That includes other territories over which the Philippines has control. So, meron tayong control dun sa mga part kasi nga we have 12 nautical miles na sinasabi. So, we are part kasi we are member of the UNCLOS or the United Nations for the Conventions, United Nations Conventions on the Law of the Seas. That's UNCLOS. So, we are member of that. That's why we have sovereignty or jurisdictions to those islands and waters that is at par within or under the 12 nautical miles. That is what you call the EEZ or the Exclusive Economic Zones. So yun yung pinaglalaban natin in having jurisdiction or sovereignty over Panatag Shoal, over the West Philippine Seas. So yun yung pinanghahawakan natin. So that is under the UNCLOS. So those are the other territories under the Philippine sovereignty. So that includes terrestrial, fluvial, aerial domains. That includes territorial sea, the seabed, the subsoil, the insular shelves, and other submarine areas hanggang dun sa pinaka-lalim-laliman. Okay, so we have also internal waters. So what is this internal waters? So the internal waters are the waters around or between or connecting the islands, the archipelago, regardless sa breadth niyan, regardless dimensions niyan that are considered and that are form part of the Philippine territories. Kasi yung mga dagat, ilog, baybay, sapa na nasa loob ng mapa ng Pilipinas, that includes the Philippine territory. So, yun lang, no? Yung kailangang tandaan sa Article 1, national territory. And we have also the Article 2. So, Article 2 is declared or it deals with the declaration of the principles and state policies. So, dito nanggagaling mga foreign policies, principles, the declarations, the foundation of the state, na mga guiding principles yon, no, ng Philippines. Sa dyan nangyayari mga policy making natin, what is the role of the government. Diyan din yung separation of church and state. Diyan din sinasabi that the Philippines is a republic and democratic state. So sovereignty resides from the people and all government authorities emanates from them. So mas mataas ang Filipino people kesa sa military. Okay? So tayo, yung mga boss nila. Okay? Because of sovereignty, because of democracy. So because democracy kasi is led by the people. The power comes from the people, by the people, and for the people. That is democracy kasi. Okay? So andyan din yung frameworks ng state policies. So the national development, human rights equality, transparency, accountability, national identity, doon. So dyan sa Article 2. Okay? So andyan din yung basis for legal interpretations, judicial review, legislative guidance. Okay? So that is your Article 2 or the Declaration of State policies. Okay? So we have also Article 3. Article 3 is basically the human rights or the Bill of Rights. So this article is crucial in Philippine legal framework because it guarantees fundamental rights and freedom rights to all the citizens. Ito yung pinaka foundations, no, ng 1987 Constitution because of democracy. So andyan yung due process, the equal protection of laws, that no person shall be deprived of his life, liberty, and property without due process of law. That's Section 1. No, in Article 3, that's Bill of Rights. Of course, we have also your right to privacy, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, rights to movement, right to information, to form unions. What else? Right to property, right to contracts, right to legal assistance, rights of the accused, the Miranda rights, the Miranda doctrine, and we have other rights. So that's part of Article 3 or the Bill of Rights. Okay, so Article 4 tackles suffrage. Citizenship. No? Who are the citizens of the Philippines? That include nationality, natural born citizens, okay, and the naturalized citizens. Then and so on and so forth. So that's 12. Okay? So I'm sorry, that's 18 articles, no, in the 1987 Constitution. So ito lang yung ibang definition of terms natin here says that it is the supreme law of the land, or it's the fundamental law of the land. So we have also amendment. Upon say amendment, that is a changes, revision, change or addition to improve a text or a piece of legislation. So we have ratification. Ratification naman is giving formal consent to a treaty contract agreement that's making it official or valid. In order for a actions to be valid, it has to be ratified in aid of legislation. So that's ratification. So we have also the constitutional convention. So that's part of Article 9. Yung mga sinasabi natin tatlo, the body or commissioners appointed by the government for the purpose of making revising constitution. So sila members din sila, no, if they want later on to revise or amend constitutions. So part din sila ito, no, ng civil service, commission of elections, and the COA. Okay, so basic lang, here are some of the Philippine presidents throughout Philippine history. Okay, so I hope you are still familiar with them. Kung sino na naabutan nyo, I think it's already Benigno Aquino, no? Naabutan nyo. Okay? So, wag nyo nang tanungin kung sino naabutan ko dyan. Okay, so let's move forward. So I hope you familiarize yourself with the Philippine presidents. Okay, so first, we move on to the transition of the Constitution. First, we have 1899, Malolos Constitution. So this is the first constitution in the Philippines. Is what it was established after the Philippine Revolution against Spain. So nung nagkaroon ng mutiny, nagkaroon ng retraction na namatay yung mga bayani, ayan, dun nag-start yung revolution hanggang sa naig si Bonifacio. Tapos nagkaroon na ng Malolos Constitution in virtue of Emilio Aguinaldo, who is the first president during that time. Okay, so here are the key features lang ng Malolos Constitution. First, meron tayong separation of powers. So doon pa lang, 1899 pa lang, meron na hanggang ngayon. So uh, naiwan yan, no? Hindi siya nabago, hindi siya tinanggal hanggang ngayon. We have the separation of powers. Okay, we have also to guarantee individual rights and freedoms, including freedom of religion and the freedom of speech. So hanggang ngayon, no, meron pa rin. They have also established a system of check and balances. Hanggang ngayon, meron pa rin checks and balances. Kaya nga, nahihiwalay, no? Yung executive, legislative, and judiciary natin, they are all co-equal branch kasi they have to do sa systems of checks and balances. Hindi pwedeng magkakasama yon para merong systems of checks and balances. Okay? So, limited during that time, limited, limited from the executive power except during wartime. Okay, kasi nga meron pang uh, Spain during that time. So the impacts lang is that the Constitution served as a symbol of Philippine independence and self-governance. True, it was a short-lived. Hindi siya masyadong nagtagal kasi nga nagkaroon ng Philippine-American War. Okay, so tayo sa next. Yan. So who is the president during that time? It is Emilio Aguinaldo. Siya din yung head ng state. And then yung kanyang prime minister is Apolinario Mabini. The form of government during that time is Republican. So when you say Republican, has sovereignty. Okay? So ang legislature nila unicameral lang. Meaning they don't have legislative. Okay? Wala silang congressmen, wala silang senators. Isa, unicameral. So it's the executive lang. It's the head of the state lang na mamalakad. And then the term of office is 4 years with re-election. Meaning, pwede pa ulit silang tumakbo after 4 years. So here are also the significant provisions of the 1899 Malolos Constitution. First, legality of the Declaration of Independence. Kaya nga dyan nag-start ng ating independence. That's why we also celebrate the because of that. Originally, it was July. And then later, transfer ng June 12. Okay? So, legality of the Declaration of Independence. We have also the division of government into 3 branches. We have, yung sabi natin kanina, legislative, executive, judiciary. So, hanggang ngayon, na-maintain natin yung divisions of government na yan. Kasi nga, they have checks and balances. Okay, so meron na rin separation of church and state during that time. Also, freedom of religion. Then they have National Assembly. Okay, that's approved the national or internal government. Okay, so pwede na rin bumoto during that time. So meron na rin silang Chief Justice as a and the Solicitor General who chosen also by the National Assembly. Then they have Executive Committee headed by the Prime Minister. And they exercise powers and discharge duties of the President until the President shall have been elected and qualified. So habang karoon ng election, hanggang sa maging qualified yung isang President, Prime Minister muna yung mamumuno habang wala pa. And then, the suffrage, sorry, the suffrage, the manner of conduct elections, ang bumoboto noon, mga lalaki, dapat 21 years old ka, dapat well-educated ka, and you have properties. So meron ka dapat pag-aari and kailangan meron kang annual tax na amounting to 500. So those lang are qualified for suffrage. So ngayon kasi, at least 18 years old, Filipino citizen, then you can exercise your right to suffrage. in the present constitution. But during that 1899, male lang, so dapat 21 years old pa, dapat well-educated pa, kailangan may pag-aari ka pa, and you are paying taxes amounting to 500. So parang uh, no, sila lang no pwedeng bumoto, privilege, no. Okay. So, next, move on tayo, no. From the 1935 Constitution. So 1935 Constitution was established during Commonwealth period. So this granting the Philippines a degree of autonomy under the US supervision. So dyan nag-start yung US occupation. So what is the features? Strong presidential, again, same lang. Republican pa rin, presidential system with single elected president. So meron na rin silang comprehensive Bill of Rights. They also have emphasized the national defense and international cooperation. Then they focused also on promoting economic development and social justice during that time. So the 1935 Constitution is a groundwork for a democratic republican in the Philippines and served as a framework for governance until 1973, until the term of Marcos. So the president during 1935 Constitution was Manuel Quezon. Okay, so it was ratified May 14, 1935, and the chair of the commission during that time is Claro Recto. The form of government is Commonwealth because of the existence of the US occupation. And then again, unicameral lang, they don't have senators and congressmen. The term again, same, 4 years with re-election. Okay, so ayan, naging Commonwealth during the 1935, it was Commonwealth government because the USS Tomas shaped the existence of the Thomasites. No? The Thomasites are the first teachers of the soldiers. Doon dyan rin nag-start yung establishment of public schools and the start of English as the official language because of the US occupation nga. So nagkaroon tayo ng Sherman Commissions. Yung Sherman Commissions na yan is a Philippine commission created to investigate kung ano man nangyayari during the US-Philippine-American War. Okay, so it conducts lang the condition of the Philippines during that war and to recommend or appropriate form of government. So that is the Sherman Commission. And then nagkaroon ng commission. So the top commission now is establishing a in the Philippines. So the purpose naman ito is to replace the military rule during that time. That's kaya nagkaroon ng tough commission. It was to create or to replace the military rule by the Americans. So they want a civil government in the Philippines. And then nagkaroon ng Cooper Act. No, that is Philippine Organic Act of 1902. So ang purpose naman nito is the framework for civil government ng mga Filipino people in the Philippines. This Cooper Act also is the first organic law for the country under the US rule. So, then magkakaroon ng sariling batas yung mga Filipino civil government na nagtatrabaho or may ambag no sa Philippine government. So that is your Cooper Act. And then nagkaroon tayo ng Jones Law of 1916. So Jones Law or the Philippine Autonomy Act laid the foundation of greater Filipino participation in governance and was a significant step towards independence. So because of John's Law, nakamit natin yung independence hanggang nung naging stable yung government ng Filipino, the Philippine government, na-establish na. Okay, so that is your Jones Law. So we have also the Osrox Mission. What is this? Osrox Mission is the campaign for self-government and the United States recognition of the independence of the Philippines. So kasi nga gusto natin ng independensya from the US, nagkaroon ng Osrox Mission do. So this is the campaign for self-government. That's what they want. We want out from the US government. We want our own, we want independence from the US. So that's why there is a Osrox Mission. Then nagkaroon ng Hare-Hawes Act. This is a 10-year transition period establishing a stable government. Para magkaroon ng stable government during that time kasi they want to free from the US occupation. They want a reliant Filipino self-government. So nagkaroon ng Hare-Hawes Act. That is 10-year transition para makabuo ng sariling Philippine self-government, maging independent from the US. Okay, and then that determination now became self-rule and paved way for the Tiding-McDuffie Act. So Tiding-McDuffie Act was accepted by the Filipino leaders in 1935, and then they drafted and they ratified the 1935 Constitution. So this is also to initiate the 10-year transition for self-governance. So the Philippines gained its full independence. Yan, this is the original date of the Independence Day, July 4, 1946, until it was transferred to what we are celebrating today, which is the June 12. So originally, the Independence Day was July 4, 1946. So that is your 1935 Constitution. So 1942 Constitution is very brief lang because this was the Japanese occupation. So the president during this time is Jose P. Laurel. So it was established under the Philippine-sponsored Second Philippine Republic during World War II. The existence of Japanese occupation in the Philippines. So di masyado nagtagal to. Kasi naging authority noon is Japanese pa rin. So yung features lang niya is to establish and align the Great East Asia Prosperity Sphere. That's the main reason naman kung bakit pumunta yung mga um, Japanese dito because of the trade. No? And then di naman sila nag-succeed although nagkaroon ng maraming effect. No? Marami silang iniwang masakit na alaala. Okay? So it focused national development and economic growth. So the 1943 Constitution it was considered illegitimate and short-lived. Okay, as the Japanese occupation ended in 1945. So wala masyado nangyari during that time. Okay? So which leads now to the 1973 Constitution. So this Constitution was implemented under Ferdinand Marcos Sr. who declared martial law in 1972. So ito yung kanyang ito yung pinaka controversial na constitution because of the declaration of martial law in 1972. So mahigit 35 years siya naging president, no? Then the shifted to modified parliamentary. So from republican it became parliamentary system, no? During 1973 Constitution, it's concentrating to the power of the executive branch. So basically, executive branch lang yung may power during that time because parliamentary, run by Prime Minister. Okay, so it's allowed suspension of certain civil liberties. So pinapawalang bisa niya yung mga civil liberties na yan, which led to widespread of human rights abuses. Kaya nagkaroon ng mga abuses because of that suspension of civil rights. So medyo nawala, no? Mga human rights, mga Bill of Rights, no? And then nag-focus lang siya to national development and economic growth. Okay. Maraming improvements with regards to national development and economic growth during that time. So the impact now is the Constitution was highly controversial as it allowed for the suspension of dissent and the curtailment of civil liberties and the consolidation of power in the hands of Marcos. So it was eventually replaced by the 1987 Constitution because of the People Power Revolution. Okay. Yeah, so it was ratified January 17, 1973. The during the 1973 Constitution was the declaration of martial law. Okay, so the chairman of the commission during that time is the President, Ferdinand Marcos Sr. Okay, the form of government is parliamentary. Okay, the form of legislature, again, unicameral lang. The term of office is 6 years with re-election. Okay, so the key features noong 1970s the martial law. So that is a temporary rule by military authorities of a designated area in time of emergency when the civil authorities are deemed unable to function. So what are the grounds for declaring martial law? During that time kasi merong invasion and rebellion. So kailangan kasi ng public safety demands. So because of that, Marcos Sr. declared temporary lang naman yung martial law na yun until nagkaroon ng people power. So because of invasion and rebellion, may banta sa seguridad ng bansa nung panahon na yan. That's why Marcos Sr. declared the existence of martial law. And then the significant provisions, suffrage shall be exercised by citizens. So lahat boboto, Philippines not otherwise qualified by law who are 18 years or over. Okay, so 18 years, pwede na. So similar to previous constitution, 1970 outlined a Bill of Rights that's protected due process. So meron naman pero protected by due process, no? Kailangan may equal protection and the freedom of speech is present. So that rights were frequently suspended during martial law na wala lahat yan up until the declaration of martial law na wala yung Bill of Rights, na wala ang due process, equal protections, and the freedom of speech. Kasi nga, there is a threat, there is a rebellion, there is a invasion. Okay? So the legislative power shall be vested in batasang pambansa. So dyan nagkaroon tang batasang pambansa. Okay? Kaya yung mga laws dati, kung ngayon, yung mga promulgations, EO, Executive Order, Republic Acts, no? Dati, BP, no? Tatawag na BP 22, BP 23, BP 21, BP 1. So that is what's called batasang pambansa. That is the legislative power during that time. Okay, so the Prime Minister may advise the President in writing to dissolve the Batasang Pambansa. So it is the Prime Minister may advise in writing to dissolve Batas Pambansa. Okay, so the incumbent President shall continue to exercise legislative powers until martial law. So continuous lang siya magde-decide, continuous lang yung kanyang execution ng kanyang powers and pati yung legislative powers niya until the existence of martial law. Okay, so they also prioritize education as essential to nationalism and civic responsibility. They also encourage the promotion of Filipino language and culture. Okay. Then the Constitution mandate free primary and secondary education. So free na yan during that time. So the legislative power shall be vested in the Batasan Pambansa. It emphasized the need for national identity, stressing the development of science and technology, and to advance the economy. So marami na tayong mga discoveries based on science and technology during that time, and the advancement also of the economy. And then from that, because of people power, nagkaroon tayo ng 1986 revolution, kaya nagkaroon tayo ng Freedom Constitution. Yan yung 1986 Constitution. That's also known as the Freedom Constitution because of the people power. So habang in transition, habang uh, pinag-aaralan pa, so nagkaroon ng Freedom Constitution. Okay, so inadapt lang nila yung other salient features in 1973, specifically those Bill of Rights. So binalik yan during 1986 Constitution. Yan, nag-focus na sila sa restoring the democratic institution. Nag-emphasize sila ng protection ng basic human rights and freedoms. So the impact is that the Constitution served as a temporary bridge. That's why tinatawag na transition was the freedom habang gumagawa pa ng bagong konstitusyon which is 1987. So yan muna. Okay, temporary lang. Establishment a new constitution which is now the 1987. So it marks the beginning of Philippines' return to democracy and the restoration of civil liberties. So the President, yan, by Corazon Aquino, yan sabi na by de facto. Okay, so de facto is defined as a state again of powers true in fact but it's not officially sanctioned. Kasi nga, wala naman nangyaring election. Kasi yung sinasabi sa Constitution dati para maging president through election. So walang election nangyari. It was decided through people power. That's why it became a de facto government. So yun. Okay, so after that, na-define, na-establish yung 1987. Okay, so that 1987 is the current constitution that we are using today. Okay, so established after people power revolution. So what are the key features? First is the return to a presidential system with a strong emphasis on checks again and balances. And then they strengthened Bill of Rights. They guarantee fundamental freedoms. They prohibit torture and other cruel treatment. Then reasserted civilian supremacy over the military. Then promote decentralization and local autonomy. It's transferring of powers from highest top government or the national government down to the barangay or the grassroots level. That's what you call decentralized state. Okay? Then they focus also on social justice and equality. And nagkaroon tayo ng Bill of Rights. Okay? So, marami lahat yan. Marami yun. Features na yan. The impact now of the 87 Constitution is considered a landmark document as it reflects the lessons learned from the Marcoses era and embodies the aspirations of nations seeking more democratic, just, and equitable societies. So the context now is the current constitution of the Philippines established after people power. Yan, we have a strong emphasis of check balances. Okay, so it was ratified February 2, 1987, no? That is during the EDSA Revolution 1. The chairman of the commission during that time is Cecilia Munoz Palma. The president was Corazon Aquino. The form of government is Republican. Nagkaroon na tayo ng bicameral, nagkaroon na ng Congress, no? The upper house and the lower house. Your representatives or your congressmen and your senators. No? That's why they call it bicameral because they have two houses. And then in term of office, naging 6 years without re-election. Meaning, di na sila pwedeng tumakbo for the same position. Okay? So the significant provision lang is that the state shall pursue independent foreign policy. So meron siyang sariling foreign policy na independent from other states or from other nations. Okay? They can create foreign policies that shall adopted, no, by the other states na may gusto. And then the state shall develop a self-reliant and independent national economy effectively controlled by Filipinos. So that is under Article 2, the Declaration of State Policies and Principles. Okay, it's controlled by Filipinos. Kaya nga, pinagbawalan, kaya nga nagkaroon ng issue dun sa closure ng ABS-C. Because of these provisions, no, a self-reliant, independent national economy effectively controlled by Filipinos. So the issue kasi at that time is that Lopezes are US citizens. So bawal sila magkaroon ng company, o bawal sila humawak ng assets sa Philippine economy. So, dapat controlled lang ng Filipinos. Kaya mga taga-ibang bansa, they cannot create their own businesses here. Ang ginagawa nila, kailangan meron silang mga partners, no, na Filipino, and that will run. Yung Rappler din, no, sabi nila it was run by Filipinos, but no, Reza kasi is US citizen din. So yun, kaya may closure, may shutdown. So that is the effective control by Filipinos based on self-reliance and independent national economy. So we have also in case of serious illnesses of the president, the republic shall be informed of the state of its health. So, very rampant yan during Duterte's time. Okay? Lagi siya nakakasakit, so laging sinasabi sa news, no? Kasi kailangan malaman ng madla yung kanyang illnesses. Okay? So, we have also the military bases of other countries are not allowed in the Philippines. So, pero bakit tayo may EDCA? Why? So, sabi dito is military bases of other countries are not allowed in the country. Pero meron tayong mga US bases, no, from the Subic. Ngayon, nagdagan na. Meron na sa Santa Ana, meron na rin sa Lalo. Kasi sabi dito sa Constitution, military bases of other countries are not allowed in the Philippines. O bakit may EDCA? Okay, so, that is controversy. Ay, kasi they opened, in aid of legislation, nagkaroon kasi tayo ng foreign contract with regards to the military bases during, if I'm not mistaken, it was time of Arroyo. Nagkaroon ng memorandum or agreement with regards to military bases na magkaroon sila dito. So, yun. So, in case of invasion and rebellion, when the public safety requires it, may not or exit 60 days to suspend the writ of habeas corpus or replace the Philippines or any part of under martial law. So kapag ka, seeing from during the 1973, pagka nagkaroon ng invasion, rebellion, pwede rin mag-declare, nasa constitution din to, pwede rin mag-declare ng martial law wherein the writ of habeas corpus in the Philippines shall be suspended. Meaning the body of the person na under litigation, hindi mo na pwedeng gawin, no? Ma-inhibit mo na, ma-suspend mo na for the safety of that person. Okay? So in the 1987 Constitution, pwede pa rin magkaroon ng martial law kasi sinasabi dito that in case of invasion or rebellion, or when public safety requires it, he may, for a period of not exceeding 60 days, suspend the writ of habeas corpus and place the Philippines under martial law. So, naging issue din yan during Duterte's time na banta na magkaroon ng martial law. So, binabanggit din niya yan during his term. Okay, so the Congress, by voting jointly, by a vote at least a majority of its member, this is what you call the two-third votes, happens in a regular or in special session, may revoke such proclamation or may suspend. So kung may mga proclamations sa mga congressmen and senators, they will vote. So kapag two-thirds yung vote na yan, okay, magkakaroon ng regular special session or they can revoke or suspend any proclamations. Okay? They have that power. That's veto power. Okay? So they also create independent offices, the Commission of Human Rights, no, to oversee those human rights under Bill of Rights. Okay? So these cannot be demolished based on 1987 Constitution. We have also their COA and the COMELEC and the CSC, the Constitutional Missions. Okay? So here pala, no, the 18 articles, no, for your reference lang, for informations. 1. National territory. 2. Declaration of Principles and State Policies. 3. The Bill of Rights. 4. The citizenship. 5. The suffrage. 6. The legislative department. 7. The executive department. 8. The judicial branch. 9. The constitutional commissions. 10. The local government. Okay? And then 11, accountability of public officers. 12, the national economy and patrimony. 13, social justice and human rights. 14, education, science and technology, arts, culture, and sports. 15, the family. 16, the general provisions. 17, amendments or revisions. And 18, the transitory provisions. So this now is the constitutions of the Philippines. Okay, so just a review, we have the branches again, the legislative, that's makes or change or repeal laws. Okay? Dyan yung mga Senate natin and the House of Representatives. Then they have 3 years term. Okay? Then they have also the executive branch. They enforce law. Okay? So headed by the president and the vice president. So they are both, the term of their tenure is 6 years, no? And then the judiciary branch, they interpret laws, okay, and applies to all cases. So headed by the Chief Justice and the Associate Justices. So yung kanilang tenure is based on the appointment. So kaya tayo mayroong commissions on appointments. Okay? Sila magtatalaga yan by, of course, the president will choose. Okay, so we have also the inherent powers, the power of taxation, police power, and the power of eminent domain. So we have check and balance. Okay, so this check and balance is a system of government that prevents any of the 3 branches from gaining too much power. Kaya they are individually distinct. Okay, so it was giving each branch the power to review and limit the actions of other branches. That is your checks and balances. So these are the Constitution topics for the midterm. So I hope it is clear. If you have any questions with regards to the topic, okay, so address properly. Okay, so we will address the questions to our face-to-face class later on. So I will be giving you your activity with regards to this topic, and you will be submitted that on our face-to-face. So thank you for listening. That's all, and have a good day.